Life is a waterfall. We're one in the river and one again during the fall. Swimming through the void, we hear the word, we free ourselves and we find it all. Cause we are the ones that want to play, always love to go and we always get to stay. And we are the ones that need not choose, always want to play but you never have to lose. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Life is a waterfall, we drink from the river, then we turn around and create our thoughts. Swimming through the void, we hear the word, we free ourselves and we find it all. Cause we are the ones that love to play, always love to go and we always get to stay. And we are the ones that need not choose, always get to play but you never have to lose. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Angels so up high, when you free your mind's eternal prize. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Angels so up high, when you free your mind's eternal prize. Ah, ah, ah,
Begin with closing your eyes. Relax into your seat. Begin breathing gently. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting go of your day. Withdrawing your entire being inward. Your gentle breathing, relaxing your heart. Allow yourself to move into the center of your heart space. Where you reside, yourself. Allow the compassion your being holds for you to bubble up on its own. You will feel the soft kindness your being holds for you, having a human experience. Feel the light of your being glow from your heart center, flowing outward, filling your entire body. Filling you from the inside. You will feel that it is safe for you, a divine being, to have a human experience. Being a human being, allow this glow to pulsate with ease and compassion of God for you. All things happening with you are divine and are perfect for your growth. They are loving. It is all right. Everything is all right. Feel the relief and have love in your heart here. Rest in your own divine grace. Bringing your breath back in your body, breathing in and breathing out. Collecting yourself back. And reflecting that inner peaceful joy through your lovely face. You may now gently open your eyes.
Welcome to the card reading for the Church of Union. We're Stan and Johanna, and we will provide your card reading for today.
Yeah, we have pre-shuffled some cards for us, and the card deck that we are using is this one, Whispers of Love by Angela Hartfield. Yeah. So, the first card that I have for us is this one, Relationship Patterns. It says here, it takes strength to recognize the need for change.
So, what this woman, or with this waterfall and that mirror, is standing for is basically life, and life is upholding consistently like that mirror towards us or towards you, on how you like this woman are fine-tuned with life and how you feel about life. That is why that woman is basically like playing her harp, trying to fine-tune her feelings or her being with life. And in order to do that, like to stay in harmony with life or what life is showing to her, like she needs to like move through the process of feeling her feelings. And how you do that is, of course, with the teachings of union. But it's important that like you get very clear on how you truly feel when life is showing you something, when you'd feel something other than love, or where you feel not so good yet. And life will keep upholding that mirror to you until you fine tune that again with love, peace, and harmony. So,
yeah, we're supposed to be in harmony with God, with love, and with all of life, right? And so every time you don't feel so good, you need love or some healing there. Something needs to change. Something needs to be healed there. So basically, if you feel into how you feel towards life, you experience also, first of all, your own soul. You experience your own consciousness. You get to know your soul and also your soul's lessons, and where you may want to attune yourself, right, to have a loving, blissful experience with life and to experience, heaven on earth for yourself. So basically here this card is all about your soul's patterns. And yeah, and like with the teachings of union, we have that innate power, to improve our life, to improve our being, and have that blissful life of love in every area of our life. And so the next card that we have is this one, be authentic. So it says here, be real and true to who you are and how you feel.
So like when you're very authentic with how you feel about life, then basically you can like reach a new level, a new dawn, a new perspective on life, or you claim your solution, like where it didn't felt good with life or what life was showing to you. And when you first like heal that with the teachings of union, you can come to peace, you can come to new insights, you can come like to that solution. And like she sees like what's possible here in that card, and like also with the swan on her head, like that she sees the freedom is upon her, because she probably truly feels like nothing has power over her when she like applies first that inner fine-tuning and then like coming back into peace and harmony.
Yeah, so you're really supposed to feel like love and bliss also in your physical experience here with life on earth. And so what's very important for you in order to create that your own personal heaven on earth is to really get to know yourself, get to know your own soul, how you are and who you are and what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And also, like we said, to really then look within, to feel within how you feel and what you may want to change within yourself or what you may want to improve in your life, to consistently also upgrade your life, Yeah. And the last card that we have is this one. Yeah, love endures. And here it says, love does not give up or lose faith. Love is hopeful and withstands every situation.
So this card is just a perfect follow-up of those previous cards, and it's showing you the process of like first fine-tuning, like seeing what's off where you don't feel good, then fine-tune yourself on the inside by feeling your feelings, move through them, come back to peace and love, and then you will see that you're basically like that your boat is floating easily through the waters of life, and the waters is standing for your emotions, how you feel about life, and you're basically like moving with ease and grace through it.
Yeah, so it's basically also means, you're always moving in oneness with your twin flame, with God, and with all of your good. And so by you taking charge of your soul, of what's going inside of you, and then also taking charge of your life and what you're choosing, which direction you choose to go, So basically, if you choose consistently more love and more good things for yourself, yeah, that's what you will have. And so you just need to work that process and steer your life consistently and your soul towards more love. And so it doesn't matter which challenge you experience, which mistake you're currently working through or healing lesson you have, you're always perfectly loved by God. And so even that experience right now, that is learning yourself, your own soul, and your twin flame, right? Your shared being, your true strengths that you have to overcome any challenge, to overcome any situation with love, and that you're always perfectly loved. Because even now, with those people, right, your union, for example, overcoming a certain challenge, you get new insights, new awarenesses, and new blessings for your soul. And so you walk out empowered and full of strength and full of healing and divine qualities that love or God innately wanted you to have, or even you were calling in to have your soul. And so every experience is always blessing you. You just need to see it for what it is, what it actually is. And so, yeah. So this was the card reading for today, and yeah.
So it was an honor for us to provide the card reading for you today, and we wish you a nice rest of the Sunday service.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Neelam. Welcome to today's Sunday service. I take the privilege today to invite our Church of Union ministers, Paco and Deborah, to present today's sermon. The topic of the sermon revolves around failures. Failures and how we look at failures from the societal perspective, and how do we actually look at the failures when we are on the spiritual path. This is such a profound piece by our ministers because it will correlate to each one's life. We all have been there where we have believed that failures is something that is miserable, it's bad, it's ugly, it's to be avoided, it's not something that anybody would want. And all those things about failures come from the societal beliefs of failures being like something that puts an end to something that we wanted to manifest. But that's not the truth. And this whole sermon is about the hows and whys of the failures, and how do we deal with failures, how do we look at them, how do we change our perspective, and how spiritual path teachings of union here can help us transcend these failures and look at it from a different point of view where we can actually grow. So when I heard this sermon, there was this part of me that I correlated with from my past. There was this mother instinct in me that really, really wanted to be the best mother. I kind of looked at my whole identity from the motherhood point of view, from the lens of being the best mother. And for that, I would like go all out and do all that's needed, and sometimes what's not needed also for my daughters, so that I could give them everything that I didn't receive, is what I believed I didn't receive. And I would want to do everything for them in my way of doing it, and box them into the do's and don'ts and the discipline, and how one should conduct themselves in the society and all of that. But all of that was coming with a lot of pressure from my side onto them, and vice versa. And as a result, there was a lot of control that was taking place, which was not intentional. It was very unconsciously happening. And one fine day, something happened. My daughters came up to me and said that, Mom, we don't like the way you behave with us, and we're not happy the way you impose yourself on us as a mother. And that hit me really hard. And that point, I still remember that I felt that I'm a big failure, because being a good mother was something that I was always aspiring to be. And I I couldn't believe it that I failed. I couldn't believe it that I am a failure at motherhood, and it broke me somewhere. And but that was temporary. When I look at the sermon, I watch the sermon and I listen to what they all had to say in the sermon. I correlate with that part of myself that actually grew from there, because that was the time when I questioned my code of conduct as a mother, and that was the time I actually introspected into, was I really happy, disciplining them that way? Was it really serving me or them in any way? And all of that introspection plus teachings of union was something that I was embracing at that point of time. And beautifully, my life unfolded as I started, becoming a disciplined mother, but with love and compassion. And I was not having that need to control on how they behave and how they become. Rather, give it to God and surrender to God over there and trust that everything is divinely orchestrated. That really helped. That really helped because just 4 years back, my daughters came up to me and said a beautiful thing which I will cherish for the rest of my life, and that was that, Mom, you're the best mom, and we really want to become like a woman like you. So it was so beautiful listening to that from my daughters. It is one of the best moments of my life which I can think about, and this sermon takes me back to that place where I realized that it wasn't actually a failure when they told me that I'm a controlling mother and that they wouldn't listen to me and they were getting more and more rebellious after that. It felt like devastating, but that was not it. Failure was not the end. There was so much more to it. There was this unfolding of me as my best version that was yet to take place, and that failure was just redirecting me towards what I was not paying attention to, and that was my own relationship to God and my own relationship to myself, which I was ignoring and looking for the validation in outside by looking at myself as a good and a bad mother and all of that. So, yeah, this is such a beautiful example that came up when I watched this sermon. It completely is resonating with my life and that part of my failures. Of course, there are many such failures which I can now uh, think about, which actually weren't failures, they were blessings in disguise, like Paco says in this sermon. It's about looking at failures in a all new perspective and believing that they are blessings in disguise. And I am sure when all of y'all will watch this sermon, y'all will also receive your peace, and y'all will also have those moments of realization where once upon a time the failures felt like the end, but they weren't. They were actually the beginning of the newer version, the better version of you. And I'm sure that all of you all will watch the sermon and have that memory to look back on and pat your back and be proud of where you've come. And so I really find this sermon therapeutic. Watching this sermon is like rejoicing your growth, rejoicing life, rejoicing your relationship with God. So, and I look forward to, understanding more in life of how failures will unfold for me. Uh, I don't look at them in the same perspective like I used to. I don't fear them anymore. And after the sermon, definitely not. Definitely, I have got even more clarity and more validation. I'm sure God is sending it through these sermons, and that it's not about looking at failures as something bad, rather looking at them as something that are opportunities to grow. And you listen to all of that in the sermon and much more about it, about the hows and whys of failures and everything around it, and how to deal with it, and what is the best way to go about them. And yeah, so I'll meet you at the end of the sermon, and I hope you all enjoy the sermon. Now I invite you to visit unionism.org, show your love there so that we can spread the teachings of union when you donate there. Thank you so much.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's Sunday service. We are Paco and Deborah, your ministers for today's sermon. We would like to share with you a wonderful message about hidden blessings, about seeing failure as a stepping stone on your ascension journey. So let us begin with our 3 opening ohms, followed by our opening prayer. You can close your eyes and chant along or in your heart. And now our opening prayer. I am the only child of God, forever part of Him. I am created by Him in perfection, and there I always remain. My mind is my sanctuary, where I keep His holy creation sacred. I will only allow in His voice. I will only accept His word. Today I will hear the word of God. I surrender myself to His teachings through His divine channel. I will honor what He has spoken and accept it as His will. I will be obedient to His word, for this is my salvation. In Christ's name, Amen.
Let us begin with the understanding of failure. We all know the description in the dictionary. Failure is something when you do something wrong, or you understand something wrong, or you do an activity that is wrong. This is deeply ingrained in us. This is why failure is also with fear when it comes to such a situation in our lives. We learned this from little on, that we feel not really positive about making mistakes or doing something that is a failure. But as we look on it on the perspective of spirituality, failure can be quite different, and failure is not really something negative, but something that is supporting you in your ascension journey. And you may ask yourself, why does failure exist at all? And why do I need to experience it in my life to change or transform something? When we look on a failure on the perspective of spirituality, a failure is a situation that is happening in your life because you are not aligned with your greatest good, with God, with love. And this situation where there is something happening where you are not aligned with love and your greatest good is showing you a place inside of yourself where you made a choice not aligned to love and God, and gives you the opportunity to bring their love and God.
Yeah, in the Oxford Dictionary we were looking up, and like Papa was sharing, the meaning of the word mistake or failure is to go about an experience that doesn't pan out in the way that we were expected, like the results are not what we expected. And I find this topic quite interesting. We've been delving in it for quite some time because moving through our experiences, we oftentimes make choices, and then the results are not what we were looking for or what we were expecting to have.
The consequences are not what we were imagining.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that it's a redirection. And I had actually thought about this sermon when I was reading this book that Chef and Shaleia were once recommending in Twin Flame Ascension School from Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. And I was reading this part, is chapter 8. They talk about exactly the same topic, about seeing failure as a stepping stone. And they were describing it as finding, like, making a mistake is opening you to maybe finding solutions that you hadn't even considered before that point. So I like having the chance to bring like a new perspective on this, and yeah, maybe bringing a little bit more clarity and love and peace as to how we approach this when we see it happening in our life, that we do something and we feel like we did something wrong. And yeah, we're gonna be sharing a very recent experience with you as how this showed up in our life, and yeah, what was a hidden blessing for us in it.
Yeah, let's share the experience we had where we made a mistake, a failure. And it was when we were in Michigan at the SLS, the Spiritual Life Summit, from the Church of Union. And we were attending the art show and the workshop. And then at the end of the workshops, there happened that Deborah hurt her foot. And instead of reaching out to me immediately and telling me that she did a movement that hurt her foot, she just kept going and helping preparing the wedding that was the next day from Daniel and Christina, long-standing students and members of the Church of Union, and our beloved Ascension coaches. So we were really looking forward to attend their wedding. And it was happening, she was not reaching out to me and was working there having pain. Then I realized something is off and she still wanted to go through it alone. And then I realized we have to leave because the pain does not get better. And then we were at the hotel and we still tried to figure it out on our own, moving through feelings that should we go to the hospital or not? Is something broken or not? And we still tried to do it on our own. The next day, the pain was not better. We still had to figure it out. Should we go to the hospital? We also said that we would like to support in the morning to prepare the wedding. We could not go there. So there were quite something going on. We still thought we have to do it on our own. So then God showed us, you have to go to the hospital. You have to check it if it's something broken or not. So we did that. And it came that we had to stay long there. Of course, it was a Sunday. So
the whole experience was like, it took us quite some time. And me personally, it took me quite a while to reach this point where I was like, okay, let's just drive to the hospital to be on the safe side, that nothing is, that we don't have to concern ourselves with something of gravity, but it's just like, it was just a sprained ankle. And like, in my defense, I had that experience before where I was twisting my ankle and in a couple of hours it just went away. So I was kind of like hoping that would be the case, but it was Sunday morning and it was not clearly happening. Yeah. So we have to move through all the fears that were coming up in regards to, for me, going into a hospital in a country that for me was foreign and all that stuff. But like, yeah, looking in perspective, like I should have done that first thing, like as soon as it immediately happened, because that was not a normal pain.
That was the experience.
But okay, yeah, it's a learning curve.
This was the experience. So we stayed quite some time at the hospital. We were not able to make it to the wedding itself. We, of course, to the reception, got more upset. And then, in the afternoon, we realized, maybe we should not go there because she would go with
the clutches. It didn't feel comfortable to me to kind of like be like with everyone there and with the clutches. It was like my train of thought was, I don't want to draw that much attention because it's all about our coach's wedding, and so I was like, I don't want to be there knowing that this is gonna be happening.
Still thinking we have to figure out on our own. Oops. Also with this thought. And then we were not attending later on when they were just having a good time together and celebrating Daniel and Christina. And then after this experience, the HR of Church of Union reached out to us to support us moving through the situation, because it was not fun for us to not attend the wedding. And in this support we did not receive before, we realized the mistake in the whole situation was immediately showing at the beginning, as Deborah was not reaching out for support from her twin flame, and this one choice, I have to do it on my own, was kind of like
It continued playing on
playing
our
out in the
union,
whole
in our
situation.
relationship.
So the mistake itself was not that she hurt her foot. The mistake itself was there happened something that is painful, and we were not reaching out for support. And the hidden blessing in the situation is that we have this pattern of thinking we have to do it on our own without God, and not realizing we have a whole community, a family who is there for us and desires to support us and to love us, that we can be part of it no matter what, because they would accept us unconditionally. Even she goes with this, the clutches there, it would have not been a problem at all. But our thought of drain, because of this choice doing it on our own, and we are not worthy of receiving this love through our beloved community, was playing out again and again. So the mistake became kind of bigger and bigger until we received the hidden blessing in it, that we can heal our unworthiness of receiving support and receiving also our spiritual family, which loves us unconditionally and accepts us unconditionally, where we have a big pain because we did not experience that in our physical families and with our physical friends.
Yeah, like growing up, we didn't really have that level of support. So for us, it was kind of like foreign. And like Paco was sharing, the hidden blessing was realizing that we have transcended that old kind of life, the one where we would not really receive the support that we needed when we needed it, and instead realizing that we have come to a place where we do have all that. We have a spiritual family, the community is that for us, and this is a relationship that has been growing and evolving for the past 5 years. So like it's safe to realize that you have moved out from the thing that wasn't serving you into what you actually desire to receive, even if it was perhaps not a desire that you had very present within you, but you still can, like if you think a little bit, you will realize that maybe this was your desire. And I know that I desire to have like my perfect family, and I thought that it would look like in a certain way, and it ended up being even bigger than I expected, because now I have a whole community behind me who is willing to hold my hand during the challenging moments, or where I am not knowing where to go, or like how to move through a situation or an experience. So I love this topic, and I could think of 1,000 examples where God had made the best out of a situation that didn't look good at all. Like again, we were going about our experiences, and suddenly the result was not exactly what we would like it to be.
Yeah, and you may ask yourself now, how did we came to this place where we can receive the blessing in this mistake we made? A big thing in that, what we did here too when we made this mistake in this situation, was resilience. We did not give power to all the feelings, the negative feelings that showed up in these situations, all these fears. We stood firm for us. We stood up against all these fears that came up in our consciousness, and we healed through them. We
stood by that chance or that choice of choosing to heal whatever it was being presented, and that actually was what opened the door for us to receive that support from HR in the church. Because like the other thing that for us was like didn't come into our awareness of how to ask for help was that our coaches were the ones marrying. We couldn't, like, it didn't feel like it was appropriate to reach out to them for support. in moving through this situation, but at the same time we were kind of like numb to the fact that we have a broader support system that we could actually reach out to, and so we kind of like were left in this very narrow perspective of what the situation was or what we could do in it. And then of course, like very lovingly again, HR reached out to us and was like, hey guys, like you have more support than you think, like it's okay, you just say anything to anyone and we will all be there for you. So yeah,
this is the wonderful blessing we received in being resilient and move through the feelings that came up in the situation. Because when a mistake happens, there are feelings, there are unworthy. I'm afraid that, oh God, what happens in the past, like then I was always with consequences. I was afraid of the consequences that will happen, but I had to move through these feelings, and this is how you transcend a mistake into a blessing. Because like we said at the beginning, when you look from the spiritual perspective on a failure, it is helping you to find something in your consciousness that would you not be able to look at when the mistake would not
have taken place. Like that's something that, like, that's one of the lessons of this journey that I've been seeking to integrate better and better, because like within myself there's always this thought that gets triggered about when I make what looks like a mistake or we would consider a mistake, that I'm suddenly doing something wrong and I'm not worthy of love. And a lot of us come from these experiences, especially growing up, where maybe our surroundings, our family, our parents, or whoever was helping us grow, they did not know how to handle feelings or triggers. They were maybe not emotionally mature, like we were speaking in a previous sermon, and therefore they could not provide that support for us to see the situation as an opportunity to learn something. And instead of being supported into that realization, we were asked to kind of like take a blame or believe that we were doing something wrong, and that instead of a mistake being an opportunity to learn or a redirection, no, like we said at the beginning, an opportunity to discover maybe a new way of doing something that we wouldn't have come up with before, it was treated as something that needed perhaps to like be corrected through control or through punishment or even abuse. So it's okay that this might be still at play in our consciousness, that this is the train of thought that gets sparked up when we feel like we've come to a situation where we made a mistake, where we did something that didn't give us the results that we were looking for, and treat it with a little more compassion. That, oh, okay, this situation happened, like I was not expecting this, but there has to be something. And I would like to read that quote from the book that actually inspired this sermon, because I find it very helpful in putting this whole making a mistake into a new perspective and allowing it to become that lesson in love, basically. A lot of the times on this journey, things are not gonna look like what they seem. So it's again like that choice of healing, that choice of seeing, okay, what is God's truth in this situation? What is God's purpose for this situation? Because there was a very purposeful how things happened, even if they came from a place in our consciousness where we have a block in receiving. It ended up allowing us to receive anyway. So it's like it was not in vain. It was not something that needed to be punished or anything. It was just an invitation to find greater love. So I'm going to read the quote. It says, this is again chapter 8 from Outwitting the Devil from Napoleon Hill, and it says, failure often serves as a blessing in disguise because it breaks up the grip of hypnotic rhythm, meaning this place where we are stuck in this thought pattern that is not helpful or healthy, and frees the mind for a fresh start. And this is exactly it. It allows us to find new ways to go about a situation. And we oftentimes maybe don't allow it. A lot of us, I can speak for myself, have grown in this way of living that tells us that, oh, I have to be the one doing it, that life or God does not partner up with me in this place. And so it's kind of like it's on me. But the more we embrace the journey, the more we embrace the teachings of union, the more we choose to heal with it, we start to discover that there's actually a lot of love there, but it may not look like how we expect it to look like. Sometimes it comes through these experiences where it seems like something is going really off, but again, it's just an opportunity to find a deeper meaning to it, a deeper truth. And that brings like a lot of relief, because now we feel more confident and our relationship with our community deepened. Yeah, and like for instance, I can share another small example of how this pans out. I remember a couple of years ago while I was living with my grandma and my son during the pandemic, my son was doing something with this little heater my grandma had in the bathroom. And it seemed like he had done something wrong because it seemed like he had broken it. But in truth, that triggered a lot of fear in me that, oh, like my son did something wrong, I'm responsible for that because like I'm the adult responsible for my kid who's underage, and then my grandma is gonna be like super upset. But again, like we were sharing throughout the sermon, as I was able to elaborate these feelings and bring healing with the tools that we know from the teachings of union, it ended up being that the situation was created so that my grandma will end up fixing something in her electrical circuit on the bathroom that otherwise would have been a hazard if it would be let as it was. So that was again like another hidden jewel of a situation that might have seemed like you oh, something wrong, like my son was breaking something. In truth, him doing that opened the space for something that needed to be fixed to actually be fixed, because it was really dangerous, like how my grandma was having this electrical stuff handled in the bathroom, and it was something that she had been abandoning for quite some time. And God, through my son, and God, through me, through us, through this living situation, was able to come through and love my grandma in this way. And I love it because the teachings of union help us see how God loves us through our everyday life situations, things that we wouldn't think are like God loving us. A lot of us maybe have associated having a life based on God as something like more on the spiritual ground, going to church, chanting, but God is actually always coming through in the smallest of aspects of our everyday life. And this is the partnership that we get the chance to develop and cultivate, which I find quite beautiful, to be honest.
And what is also important in such situations where you might think, oh my God, there's a failure, like we shared already, resilience is important as you encounter such a situation. And as you go through it, there will be the situation where you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, because it brings places to the surface where God is saying, hey, it's okay to show your vulnerability, first of all, to yourself. Because in these situations with the wedding, we felt very vulnerable and we were very afraid to show our vulnerability. That was also preventing us to reach out for support, kind of first aid, spiritual support we needed. And in this situation, with her grandmother in the bathroom, she needed to show her vulnerability also to her grandmother. And in these situations, what did help us? The preparation we had for such situations with the teachings of union and with the loving community of the Church of Union. Because there you experience every day, doesn't matter how deep you are in the community, that you are loved here. Unconditionally.
Even if it comes in the shape of an upset, you're deeply, deeply loved in the community itself from day one. Day one that you have made the choice to reach out, to be part of it, to explore what the church has to offer, since that moment on, you are actually cultivating a relationship. And how that relationship goes, or how deep it goes, in which direction, is up to you. It's up to each and every one of us.
It's individual, and you
Yeah,
have the time. You need to cultivate the relationship you desire in your heart, and to allow yourself to find this place where you feel vulnerable.
Yeah,
and it's okay to allow yourself to love yourself there and show up your vulnerability. It's okay.
yeah. This I like it, because the first step to solving a problem is realizing that we are having one, and that requires a lot of, again, like Paco is saying, not only vulnerability but also courage to say, like, oh, okay, there's a problem here, and a lot of the times I get it, like, it is uncomfortable. We don't really want to look into these places, but these are actually the ones who hold the key to our healing, the key to
more love.
Yes, exactly. Like more love in aspects that we really may not have even imagined were possible. Like I've been constantly surprised, the deeper I go in my relationship with the church and its community, that like the amount of love that it's there for me. Like I was not expecting this at all. A lot of the times catches me by surprise, that it takes me a while to process and realize, like, how, like, this is nothing like what I've experienced before. And that's actually exactly what I've been desiring. I've been desiring to have a community, a group of people who are like-minded, who speak the same language as me, who meet me in love. And this is also probably a place where a lot of us are hurting, in this particular space of not finding, like, we have a community that is unconditionally accepting, unconditionally loving.
And who can create an environment where you can move through a mistake so that you can find the hidden blessings.
Yeah, without being judged, or even like a family, because to me at this point, like, the church is my family.
Yes.
And the experiences that I have with them, they are like day and night in comparison to the experiences I have growing up with my biological family, who were doing their best with what they have, but still there were certain needs, emotionally especially, that weren't met. And a lot of the times we still carry that experience with us, and we kind of like project it on these other places. And like it happened to us during the event when we were having this experience, we failed to see that in truth we've transmuted or transcended that old experience, and we actually, as we were walking the path, everything was transforming. Like this was an awareness that I received quite a while ago, where I realized, like, oh, wow, like I've come to this community, and in the process of me learning how it functions, exploring what they are offering, I was already in that process of changing and transmuting that old experience with my family, like my biological family. And that coming to that awareness, like, takes some space to come about. So it's okay, but again, it's fine if this has been your experience. It doesn't have to be that any longer. And you can find, whether it's within the Church of Union or in any community or group of people, or even your family that you're part of, that you find these nuggets, these golden pieces of like deeper love, even if it looks a little wonky on the outside.
So even you may encounter a failure on your ascension journey, be sure it's not there to bring you down or to
hinder your path.
No, it's there so that you can rise above it, and that you can bring more love into your life, and that you can ascend, and that you can grow on your path, on your life with God. And be safe in reaching out for support. We are here as human beings to be in a group of loving people, and this group of loving people is here not just for the good times, but the real loving community is here for you even in your darkest hours. So we would like to conclude this sermon with our closing prayer and our closing alms. Father, I accept your word into my heart. I will honor your will in my life and will follow you without hesitation anywhere you ask. I know you guide me into your heart where I belong. I accept that you are everywhere and your teaching is in all things. God, I know you provide me clarity in these teachings of union that I may be forever in union with you. I accept that you are in me as you are in my brother. I will not deny my brother your word and will share your teaching with him in any way you ask and only as you ask. For when I share my salvation with him, I fully claim my salvation and return to you with him. In Christ's name, Amen.
Speaking this prayer in your heart means you have accepted that you are on the path of awakening to your true divine nature. This is what it means to be a unionist. Follow the teachings of union with God wherever you find them and purify your consciousness into perfect union with your Creator. And now our three closing Oms. You may chant them aloud or in your heart.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this beautiful sermon by Paco and Deborah. The way Paco opens up the sermon is so beautiful. He talks about failures leading to fears and how failures can cause fears in our life. Also, the looking at failures as opportunities to uh, grow, to opportunities to bring in love and God over there was so profound. Deborah talks about this book by Napoleon Hill's Unwitting the Devil, which inspired the entire sermon. And a few lines from that book were also so beautiful takeaways for all of us. Looking at failures as opportunities to actually look at solutions which we were not looking before those failures or mistakes happened. Also, looking at the failures as actually stepping stones. These are a few lines mentioned in that book that are great takeaways for a lifetime. The entire experience of the spiritual summit and what happened there and what was the understanding of failures over there was something also that Deborah and Paco talk about in the sermon, and how they moved through all of the experience where they were not claiming support from the community. And what was really the constant factor there, like Paco mentions, was resilience. They did not give up on the situation. They did not give up on feeling all that their feelings were coming up throughout the entire process of whatever mistake was playing out. The entire episode was something where they never gave up on feeling their feelings and actually moving through their feelings, which, of course, like Deborah mentions in the sermon, that we do not know how to do that. We were never taught to do that. We were always taught to blame ourselves. We were not, taught to transcend the mistake, like Paco states. We were not taught to look at the mistake from any other perspective but blame ourselves. So it was a complete change in their whole perspective, their belief system, which was not serving them, into a new belief system where now they were able to believe that they have an entire community and they can reach out for help and they are worthy of support from the universe in the form of their community. So it was a nice example. Other than this, even Deborah gives one more example where her son makes a mistake, a so called mistake, and it was like a life savior. It saved their lives in a way where a mishappening could happen, and their attention was taken there to rectifying that mistake, because rectifying that particular thing, so that no mishappening happens, but the attention was taken there by the mistake, so-called mistake made by her son. So it's a blessing in disguise. And just like it was said in the sermon, that it's not about going to the church and not about chanting, it's more about feeling God's presence in everything that we are doing at every moment, and feeling that partnership with God by looking at mistakes in such a fashion. So I'm sure you all enjoyed the sermon and you have great takeaways just like me from the sermon. And I really want to thank Paco and Deborah for this beautiful piece. And thank you all for joining us in this Sunday service. And also, I would invite you to visit unionism.org and show your love there by donating there. Watch our previous sermons there. You can also visit our YouTube channel and you can watch our previous sermons. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel to be notified for our future sermons. You can be a part of our after tea time discussions, which are discussions done by unionists, giving their perspectives about the sermon and the topics of the sermons. And you can be an active part of it and comment and also give your views about what you think about these topics. And you can do that by joining our Facebook group. And yes, I would really like to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for being here with us and giving your presence over here. It means a lot. Till we meet in the next sermon, God bless you. Have a beautiful week ahead. Thank you.